Gayle, thank you very much for taking the time to speak to us as we commemorate World Doula Week. Now, there's still some confusion amongst people who've maybe not used the services of a doula between the job of a midwife and a doula, just so we understand the topic carefully. Can you just clarify that misconception for us?
I can. Hello, everybody. So a doula is either employed by the client themselves in a hospital, in a private hospital, or we have some government hospitals where doulas come and do volunteer work, where you don't get paid. So a doula is a woman offering child support, that is wombs, and I've been chair lady of wombs for about 8 years now. The word doula comes from the Greek word, which means women who serve women. And a midwife, she is the person next under the obstetrician. So a midwife is medical, technical care, and a doula is emotional, psychological support. I hope that makes sense. As wombs doulas, we have to do a proper training. We write a physical written exam. We need to go into the field and practice. And then we have an organization where we all support one another. We have a peer review. We have a strict overall community that makes sure doulas are performing in the way they should in the hospitals.
So doulas are there to support not only mothers in the childbirth process, but also fathers and the whole family unit. And as we commemorate World Doula Week, which ends tomorrow, what should we be focusing on in South Africa in as far as the role of doulas?
It's amazing that this has come up at the moment because I'm the chairperson of Wombs, but I've also in the last 6 years worked at creating the South African Doula Association, where I've brought together birth doulas, postpartum doulas, bereavement doulas, where baby doesn't make it into life, and end-of-life doulas. So we all have created and established an association so that we all work together. And the biggest prayer, the biggest mission I have as a doula is saying to the medical practices, whether it's public or private, let us be part of the team. Let us help you emotionally, like psychologists work and social workers work. Let doulas come in, especially post-COVID. The medical doctors, the nurses, they were the frontline workers are tired, and they still have a lot of post-traumatic distress. And we come in and we assist very much in a scope of no medical, we don't do anything medical, but we can help a lot with the midwife so that they can do their work, their medical work, and we are there with the client. Yesterday, I held a birth circle for women post-birth, and honestly, I sat in a group of 10 women, each with different birth stories, whether it was home, hospital, Germany, England, and every woman cried after at some point about the trauma of her birth. So we are there to hold their hand, to look them in the eyes, to just say, you're okay, you've got this. And as you also said, for the partner too. It's too much for the partner to support. It's wonderful they can be there, but it's too much for them to support their wives as well. Does that answer your question?
Absolutely. Gayle, you were saying a little bit earlier that doulas are mainly used in private clinics contracted by the client themselves, and in public health settings, doulas do volunteer work. Because giving birth is such a life-changing event, and often, because of the very nature of giving birth, it can lend itself to trauma. How do we create circumstances in South Africa where more women and families have access to the services of doulas in public health settings?
Okay, I think funding. You know, that's what it's going to come down to. We've got a program here in Cape Town called the Zoe Project, but it's all volunteering. So employ doulas, you know, to come and take the load off. They can work 12-hour shifts, and they can help the woman. Many women in public come all alone. They come all alone, you know, and they don't even understand the pain and what's happening to them, and they have to lie on beds, and they're given medication, sure, but it's still a very frightening, traumatic experience, which follows through to the new generation. You know, you want a baby to come out, and that's why we use the motto of breathe. You want them to come out, you want them to take a good, strong breath and go, okay, I can face life. Not to come out feeling traumatized because mother is traumatized, because everybody in the room is traumatized. Do you understand the importance of that? And as I said, it's funding. And how do we get funding so that women can be paid? Because unfortunately, in volunteer work, women burn out, or whoever's helping. You burn out eventually because too much to give. So I guess funding. What else can I say to you? Which is, yeah.
And if we're looking at psychosocial support far more closely in the wake of COVID-19 and realizing how important it is to support people emotionally and psychologically in whatever process they're going through, we need to look at the same way in terms of giving birth. Thank you very much, Gayle Friedman from WOMBS, speaking to us there as we commemorate World Doula Day.